Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to... All right, well, that's not going to work. Let's put the lanyards over there. All right, I just learned something new this morning. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Gaming with Scott. I am the aforementioned Scott. Wanted to talk to you today about one of the fundamental principles that you will utilize in gaming, okay? And first thing I'm going to do, the first direction I'm going to speak of regarding this particular point is from the game master to the players, okay? So, let's see if I can minimize that. We'll put these up. I thought we'd be all comfy here. I'll rely on the air instead. Okay, so this topic today is trust, okay? So, trust, what does that mean? What does it run into? There is a fundamental understanding that you need to come to when you are running a game, and that revolves around trust. The players are bringing their characters to you, or they're building characters and personas to play in your game, and they trust you to do well, to provide them with entertainment, to not break the rules in the favor of the bad guy, to help them tell the story of their character or live vicariously through the story of their character, so that they can get enjoyment from your game. Nobody likes to be the punching bag. Nobody really enjoys having their character tortured or, horribly disfigured or maimed. Now, as the GM or game master or dungeon master or storyteller, it's your job to make sure that the rules are followed, that the scenario is run properly, be it a module, be it a long play session. Your job is to make sure that the rules are applied fairly. Let me get that again on screen. Fairly. Notice the air quotes there. We all understand that life is not fair. We all understand that that is what generally contributes to the sense of drama in the world. However, your players, being players, trust that you are not going to just bone them for no particular reason. Okay, boning them for story is typically something that they can get behind. If you've ever read The Hero's Journey or understand what the hero's journey is, that's a storytelling model that we'll get into later. But your players don't just want to be boned and then left to just hang out there. It's not a fun thing for them. So what they're doing is they're trusting you to provide the environment with which they can enjoy themselves and tell a good story and have an entertaining and interesting environment. Yes, I encourage breaking the rules. The question is, you need to know which rules you can break and which ones you shouldn't. I'm working on content to put that together to make it a little bit more clear and actionable, what rules you can break and what rules you shouldn't break. From that, though, the players are trusting you to provide an environment to take care of their characters. The better you do setting up your world, the better you set up your world, the better you immerse your players, the more invested they are going to get with their characters. Now, as we've seen from Game of Thrones, characters can get killed off all the time, and actually that's not the first literary vehicle to kill off people's favorites, but it is one of the most widely known. So the notion becomes, yes, you can kill off their characters. However, do understand that they're trusting you, and they have a level of investment in these characters. You will get a better story if you promote better investment. In other words, if every player shows up to your table with 5 characters in their back pocket, ready to die, you're not really playing D&D or Shadowrun or Vampire. You're playing Paranoia. And they expect to die, and that might be the game setting that you're trying to play. That could be exactly what you're shooting for. And if that's the case, then discuss that with your players and make sure that they're aware. So you're going to have a trust level running the table. The trust that you're not going to just kill their characters outright. The trust that you're going to help them invest in the world and the story. The trust that you're going to run the rules fairly. the trust that you are going to allow them the latitude to explore the world. There's a lot of, what do they call it, railroading in plot, where you find out, hey, the plot is to the right, and everybody decides to go to the left until you have a giant machine that just pushes them all to the right so that they can't avoid it at all. They trust that you're not going to ham-fist them and railroad them. Whether that's true or not depends on how good of a storyteller you are. But these are all items that they are bringing to the table that they are hoping to be able to trust you with as the storyteller. Your job is to make sure that all of those things come about. You facilitate the story for them, and they trust that you're going to expand upon what they have. They trust you with their entire world and their entire life for a character. Also, they trust that wherever you're at, you're going to run the game with a degree of decorum, meaning, okay, if, God forbid, the story splits up, or the party splits up, and 4 of the 5 players go this way, and the last guy goes that way, that you're not going to run an hour-long session where we deal with the 4 players, the 4 players, the 4 players, and then 6 minutes at the end is the single player. The person who's off on their own, they don't tend to have much fun doing it that way. I'm not saying that it's wise to split the party, not at all. What I am saying is it's not wise from a game master standpoint to completely have a character that's removed from play, basically, bored, sitting there doing nothing while his compatriots are off and about. There should not be out-of-game penalties for doing things that are less than intelligent in-game, and that, again, leads back to the trust. If you are trusted by your players, they will allow you a lot of latitude with story, with what happens to their character, with what goes on. If it's just so much fun that at the end of the game, they're blown away by how much fun they had with this character, even if their character dies, then you will be able to get away with a lot more than if they don't trust you at all. If the environment at the table is good, if the game is good, if things are relatively fair, they will continue. They will continue to come back time after time after time to enjoy the game, to enjoy your storytelling. If they believe that the table is safe, a safe space, if they believe that they can come to you as a GM behind the scenes and say, hey, I want to do these things with my character, and they believe that you will listen to them and give them a fair shake, you will get much more investment, you will get much more story, and you will get a much better game, much better gameplay, if you have that foundation of trust with your players out of the gate. You may need to build that level of trust if you don't know all of the players. At Gaming with Scott, we're working on expanding our ranks. Yes, you heard it first. We're actually going to be interviewing for new players to come to the table, people that we don't know intrinsically and haven't gamed with before. We're going to try to bring them on. We need to get to know them. We need to build that trust. That foundation is the default. It's the literally, foundation is a great word. That is the base upon all of our role play. Okay, note to self. That needs to be a little bit harder. A little bit. I got a thing that pinches it and holds it to the dashboard. That was fun. From there, that foundation needs to be in place before you can bring in new players. And if you don't have it, you need to work on it. And I'm going to put together some actionable guidance on how to work on the foundation of trust for the players. But for now, I think this will do me for my first recording in. I've learned a couple of things about lanyards and the phone holder for my car. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. Again, this is tip of the iceberg information. I'm putting together a podcast that will give you actionable guidance on how to build this trust at the table. And as always, you'll hear from us real soon. Bye.